And you guys do this crap every day.
Yeah. It's no longer interesting anymore. It's just,
but I mean, really, right? I mean, we're sitting there having some lunch and I mean, talking about all kinds of wild stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. What one story would be a crazy story for someone to have is like a Tuesday for a cop.
I'm Ryan Gresham, and this is Gun Talk Nation. Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by TSAS, Vortex, Range Ready, and Ruger. Welcome in to Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, we got Mike Laverne, or Laverne. Lavernier. Yeah, from down to Bayou.
Yeah, originally from Lafayette.
Yeah, Lafayette, Louisiana. For those listening who are like, what are these guys talking about right now?
Cajuns.
Yeah. I can do a pretty terrible fake Cajun accent, but people who aren't from Louisiana don't know it's terrible.
Bobby Boucher.
Yeah. Yeah. So welcome in, man.
Thank you.
I mean, you're with TactaLoad, but we were just kind of getting into a conversation about your background, your history of started out in law enforcement, right?
Yes, I was a deputy sheriff with the Lafayette Parish Sheriff's Department in Lafayette, Louisiana.
And before we hit record, I was talking about cops and military guys have great stories. My theory is this: if you're a person listening to this, if you're a civilian, if you have ever had a story that involved a police officer showing up, very possible it was one of your craziest stories of your life. Like, dude, this one time and I had to call the cops and they showed up, whatever, right? Or the cops showed up and they saved my butt or whatever. That's like one of your craziest stories that you tell people.
Right. And that's usually
you guys do this crap every day.
Yeah. It's no longer interesting anymore. It's just
but I mean, really, right? I mean, we're sitting there having some lunch and I mean, talking about all kinds of wild stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, what one story would be a crazy story for someone to have is like a Tuesday for a cop. So
yeah, dealing with dogs, police dogs, drug dogs, dealing with big guys. I mean, people listen to this. We talk about self-defense all the time. Big people, small people theory. What do you think? You're a big guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pick your battles. I mean, there's always someone bigger than you, and no one is the end all be all. So.
Don't underestimate the 120-pound dude.
Exactly. Yep.
Bench pressing 5 dudes.
And never try to arrest a very mad woman.
Oh, really?
Oh, man. Let me tell you. A guy will punch you in the face. That's about it. Maybe knee you, maybe. Mm-hmm. A mad lady is going to bite you, scratch you, claw you, stomp on you,
grab some item.
It's like trying to wrestle with a chainsaw. It's not advised.
Not advised. Is that where you come out with some OC or some taserness?
That's when you got to move up the chain a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Or bring more friends.
And then you went from law enforcement, like kind of sort of local law enforcement, and went federal. Talk about that.
So I applied for a job with the United States Secret Service back in the mid-90s. And back then, it took a very long time to get hired. The process was very lengthy.
Yeah.
Not just the tests, but the backgrounds and the polygraphs. And it was a lot.
It seems like it should be, right?
And it should.
You want the right people for the job for something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And, at the time, I'm not sure how it's changed now. I've retired, but less than 2% of applicants would get hired. So it was very competitive. And went through the process and got picked up. And I started in the late 90s when President Bill Clinton was still president. And I retired in 2020. So.
Okay. Yeah. How was that different from doing local law enforcement stuff?
On one side of the coin, it's easier. On the other side of the coin, it's harder. And the easier.
How so?
Well, so if you're a police officer, they have the hardest job in the world, by the way. Mad respect. You're going to arrest people from, jaywalking and all the way up to murder and everything in between. Where if you're a federal agent, you have a certain set statutes that you're
not really worried about pulling people over for speeding.
You're not messing with that. And it's I hate to call it safer, but it is because traffic stops are the most dangerous things you can do. You have no idea what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Every single traffic stop. Where when you're a Fed and you're going to do an arrest warrant, well, you can time and place it. You have options.
You actually plan this out.
Yeah. There's a lot less unknown, and so but on the other side of the coin, the federal took me away from home a lot.
Yeah.
And maybe it's just because of Secret Service we travel so much, but you're not coming home even late at night. You're not coming home. You're gone for weeks at a time, sometimes months at a time. You're traveling a lot, especially during the campaign season. Those are brutal. And so good and bad with everything. Every job's got its ups, its downs, and there's no perfect job in the world. Every job you got to put your pants on and go to work. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, so this podcast is called Gun Talk Nation. So talk about the guns that you used on the job. Ones I'd love to know. Ones you liked, or even gear, guns and gear and whatever, right? Ones you liked, ones you didn't like. Why? I mean, any experiences with that?
When I started, I'm dating myself, we still carried the Uzi.
Okay.
And
for Secret Service.
Secret Service carried the Uzi, the Uzi 9mm. And it, people talk smack about that gun, but let me tell you, it's a workhorse.
Really?
You're not going to break it. You're not, this was obviously a fully auto version, so it was a closed bolt.
Uzi always was weird to me because, and I don't have really any hands-on experience with it, but it's like, it looks like this giant unwieldy pistol.
It's a giant hunk of steel,
but there are some that have a foldable like shouldering.
So
stock,
this one did. This had the folding stock, which was horrible.
9mm?
It's 9mm.
Okay.
Yep. And I said closed bolt. It was an open bolt design because it was a full auto. So the bolt had to be open. But that was what made it great. There was no firing pin. There was a welded nub that was the firing pin. And if it failed to fire, you locked the bolt to the rear. You shook it, maybe took the magazine out to clear it and shook it. And that was it. It was very simple, and it never failed on you. And if you're a zombie apocalypse, I'd pick that over.
No kidding.
What we went to after that was the H&K MP5, and it's a Cadillac of guns, and it's
nice.
true.
Yep.
But it failed way more than our Uzis did.
Funny. Wow.
The roller bearings tend to wear out, which actually it's a good and a bad design. As long as you don't remove that bolt to clean it, it'll keep firing forever.
Don't mess with it.
Just don't take it apart and clean it. As soon as you take the bolt out, the roller bearings fall out, and now you just broke it. So that was, but it was a much smoother shooting gun.
I think that is true for a lot of guns. People want to clean it and cause issues, right? I mean, taking it apart, and then there's the guys who want to fully disassemble a gun, and it's like there's a difference between like sort of a field stripping, okay, where you can get in there and wipe some things down and then be like, let's see how we can take this bolt apart. Like, don't do that. Generally, don't do that.
Leave most of that to the engineers.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to take that apart. It's kind of like letting the magic smoke out of electronics. Sometimes you can't put it back in there. But I love the Uzi. The MP5 again was nice. It was fine. But the Uzi was to me a never going to fail on you. And that kind of started me on a path. In law enforcement and in military, the last thing you want is your gear to fail, because it could be your life. You depend on it. Think of being out in the wilderness and there's no store to get parts. If it fails, you're done. It's just out. Now you're carrying around an anchor, whatever broke.
Well, you think of, guns as a life-saving device, and there's a line that my dad on Gun Talk Radio has coined a lot of lines, but one of his is when people are trying to decide between two self-defense guns, and one is $200 less, it's maybe not as good, but they're like, but I could save some money there. He's like, oh, so you want to buy a cheap parachute.
It's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Do you want the bargain parachute or do you want the premium parachute? Your choice.
Give me the Cadillac of parachutes, please.
Yeah. So that kind of steered me, guided me when I came up with the Flash 5 design, was because, the Uzi was unbreakable, and I wanted something that was unbreakable. I didn't want to let down my brothers in the field. So, I spent a dozen years making sure this thing was perfect. We would make 3D printed models. I was telling you earlier how expensive it was back in the day, like $3 or $4 grand to 3D print a stock. And, because the technology was still young, and we would take it to the range and let all my SWAT guy friends and military friends beat on it until they broke something.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey, look, this failed. I'm like, okay. So we'd redesign it and change it and make it better. And we got it to the point that we weren't even breaking them when they were the fragile plastic 3D printed models. So when we built the production ones with glass filled nylon, which is incredibly durable.
Yeah.
That's why I'm able to drive over this with my forklift, my 8,000 pound forklift, and not scratch it. And people are like, oh, yeah, I'll never come across a forklift in the field. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But this is a shotgun stock. And let's say you're a hunter and you had it leaning against the back of your truck. And I've seen this happen before, and you forgot it was there and you backed up and you rolled over your shotgun. I've seen it happen.
Most stocks are going to crunch and crumble.
Yes, they will.
This is a good segue. So, we're going to get into this, the TactLoad Flash 5. It's one of the cooler products that we've seen lately, and we're going to talk more about it right after the break. The rush of competition shooting may bring us all together, but when you want an optic that sets you apart, depend on the Vortex Defender XL. Target to target, stage to stage, it's built tough and has a massive sight window that delivers greater peripheral vision and increasing your speed for follow-up shots, so you always come out on top. Of course, it has the Vortex lifetime warranty, so go check it out over at vortexoptics.com. The TSOS Carry in 9mm is now available in a double stack version, built around TSOS's forged slide frame and barrel that are machined to exacting tolerances. The new double stack models combine all the features of modern high-capacity 1911 pistols with the reputation for quality and value that the TSOS guns are known for. They also have a polymer grip module with 25 line prints checkering on the front and rear and molded texture. So very cool guns at a great price. You can learn more over at tsosusa.com. You've probably heard about the Ruger RXM pistol. It's the result of a collaboration between Ruger and Magpul. American-made handgun, stands out with a variety of upgraded features, including direct mount optic cut slide. So you can put an RMR, Delta Point Pro, RMSC cuts with co-witness height sights. It also has their fire control insert. It's a removable stainless steel insert. That's the serialized part of the gun, which enables you to customize using Magpul enhanced grip handgun grips. And so they have different colors, different sizes. You can really customize it. It's Gen 3 compatible, so it works with magazines that you may already own. And we've tested it. We shot it a lot, and we like it. You can learn more about the Ruger RXM over at Ruger.com. If you're listening to this show, you probably like guns, but how many classes have you take to make you a better shooter? And that's what we do at Range Ready Studios. Range Ready is a premium firearms training academy in Robert, Louisiana, and it's here at the Gun Talk headquarters. We've got a range out back, actually several ranges. We've got classroom, we've got a shoot house, and we've got some of the best instructors around. And I promise, when people come here, the reviews are 5-star. They love it, and they improve on their shooting. You can learn more at rangereadystudios.com, and I'll tell you a trick. Sign up for the email list, because you guys that sign up for the email list are the first to hear about our new classes, and they sell out quick. Hey, Gun Talk listeners, we have something special that you need to know about. When you go to Brownells and you enter Gun Talk 10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off any order of $150 or more. Brownells, you know what they've got. They've got optics, they've got ammo, they've got guns, they've got all kinds of stuff. Enter Gun Talk 10 for 10% off any order of $150 or more. And Brownells is hooking you guys up. Go check them out. So, Mike, one of the cool things about shotguns in so many ways, it's one of the most versatile types of guns there exist. A 12-gauge shotgun, and people may have heard me say this before, but you can load it with birdshot. You can load it with buckshot. You can load it with slugs. You can load really light loads, a 1-ounce load. You can do a 3.5-inch shell and pack it in. I mean, you can do turkey loads that are ridiculous, like they're $20 per shot. The cops, you'll load beanbag loads in them. I mean, all this variety of loads, and so it's great for hunting. I mean, you could literally kill a grizzly bear with it, and you could hunt quail with it, and then you can defend your home inside your home. Great for that. And you could, I don't know, stop a charging, something at 100 yards with a slug, perhaps. But one of the challenges with a shotgun is the amount of ammo it holds. There's some with detachable magazines, with very varying dependability with that. But traditionally, I mean, most common, you've got pump shotguns, you've got semi-auto shotguns, you've got the biggest best-selling ones ever, Remington 870, Mossberg 500, awesome workhorse guns. And that's what this stock is designed for. So I don't want to bury the lead. It's called the TactLoad Flash 5, 5.4.
That's fast loading, accessible shell holder, and it holds 5 shells.
It holds 5 shells in the stock. So obviously this is a podcast, but we film it. So on the video, if you guys are listening and want to see it, you can go over to the YouTube channel or Facebook or whatever and look at the video of this. But Mike, you just pull up.
Just grab the brass and pull. It's like a Pez dispenser.
It's like a Pez dispenser. And so this is what, when we were talking about this a while back, and I was explaining it to Chris Serino, and this is what everybody's going to say, because everyone's a skeptic, especially online. It's like, oh, it's going to break. Oh, the shells are going to fall out. Oh, this must be some cheap Chinese crap or whatever like that. None of that is true.
No.
I mean, talk about the development of it, because we can back up a little bit. I mean, because you were kind of starting to go into, you were 3D printing these and doing iterations and trying to figure out a design, right?
Yeah. Trying to build a better mousetrap. The last thing I wanted is for it to fail or do something like drop rounds, because we carried something in the Secret Service that held rounds inside the stock, and it kept dropping rounds. And even if it didn't drop rounds, my students, I was a firearms instructor, my students would have to fight to get them out. And it was a nightmare. So I was like, there's got to be a better way. So started figuring it out and decided to stack them in the stock this way. And this way you can put 2 3/4, 3 inch or 3.5 inch shells, where with the other design you couldn't, because it was a tubular magazine. You only had so much room.
Right.
But in mine, you can put all the 3 different size shells, and it would have killed me if they'd have fallen out. So, so we really worked hard to make sure that wouldn't happen. And we beat this thing against a tree, did all kind of training, rolling on the ground and dragging it through the mud and dropping it. And one of the first guy, I think he was the first guy on YouTube to review this. He threw his shotgun numerous times in the air and had it land. It landed on the buttstock and the barrel sometimes. I cringed every time he threw it. God bless him. What a guy. He sacrificed his shotgun for the shot, I guess. But yeah, he couldn't dislodge a round out of it. The first guy who did an article on it was a former Marine, Travis Pike. He beat it against a tractor tire until his arms wore out. He could not make it malfunction. When he didn't want to like it when he got it.
Right.
He loved it. He loved it.
Because look, the tactical guys, or even just people who are in this industry and cover a lot of products, they see gimmicky things.
You get skeptical.
And they're skeptical. Yeah. I mean, it's just like we joke, and I love Chris Serino is Mr. Skeptical. He's like, what is this? Right. But so if he likes it, that's kind of saying something.
Yeah. So he didn't want to like it, and he beat it to death just to make sure to see, because he ended up giving it 5 stars. He said It's never coming off of his shotgun. So, I mean, what a wonderful, review that is, to have someone like that thoroughly beat it to death and say, yeah, it's good to go.
I got to know though, Mike, how much Pez did you eat when you were developing this? I mean, like, do you have a whole collection of Charlie Brown and, Darth Vader Pez and heads?
Yeah. I had to have a sugar high going on to get this going. Shotguns, you're right. They are the Swiss Army knife of firearms. That they do everything, but they do everything if you have the ammo.
Right.
And that's their Achilles heel. They only hold so many rounds. And so having them in the stocks are normally hollow.
Mm-hmm.
And, I tell people stocks are hollow, put something useful in there, put a sandwich in there, put some bullets, put something you can use. So we figured out a way to use that unused space and put 5 rounds in there that they're not going to get wet and muddy and dirty and knocked off and lost. In my patrol shotgun in the sheriff's office, I had one of those neoprene side saddles.
Yep.
And forever were they falling out. And you turn a corner in the car and you hear the shells rattling around the floor. So
well, the other thing is a side saddle is not ambidextrous.
No.
You have to kind of set it up for you. Somebody can't just pick up your gun and run it, especially, I shoot on the left shoulder or left side. A side saddle's not going to work for me.
Right.
If I get that from somebody else's gun.
Exactly.
Because much like why the Mossberg 500 top tank safety is ambi, it's right on the top in the center of the gun.
Correct.
This is right on the bottom in the center of the stock.
Exactly. And as you were saying, it's not only not ambidextrous to have that side saddle on there for you, but when you try to put that gun in a gun cabinet, you essentially are putting 2 guns worth of guns in that one spot because you have a side saddle on it and it's taking up space.
Mm-hmm.
So with this, it doesn't take up any space whatsoever.
That's a good point.
You can keep all your guns in nice and tight.
Yeah.
And sometimes even the gun racks in police cars won't accept one that has a side saddle on it because it gets in the way.
Yeah.
So this was a way to put the shells in there and not obstruct with any of your carrying options, or if you try to slide a gun with a side saddle into a sleeve or something and it gets caught on it. I don't know if you've ever done that, or if you're walking through the woods hunting and it's getting caught on everything.
Oh, sure. It's sticking out. Yeah, that's cool. I also notice that because this is an actual stock, you seem to put some thought and design into the stock. The rubber butt pad is really nice and soft.
Yeah.
And it has some texturing to it. It's not just like the stock design was a throwaway.
Correct. Well, and one of the things that we did, and this comes from, me shooting 3-gun and me shooting sporting clays and trap and skeet and stuff. You want a stock that fits your face.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of manufacturers kind of got away from that and they went towards saving $1. And the stocks were getting smaller and skinnier and essentially
hollower.
And it was like you were putting an axe head, to your face and pulling the trigger. And it was just
pop you.
Beating you up and like someone punched you in the face. So this is one of the most comfortable stocks you can shoot. And one of the biggest compliments I get is from cops after they shot 50 slugs during the day on a training session. They're like, man, normally I have a bruised face from my shotgun, but this didn't bruise my face because it fits your face better. And it doesn't karate chop your face every time you shoot the gun.
Right.
So we did that because, I couldn't stand taking a gun out of the box, brand new gun, going and shoot it and just donkey kicking my face, So we wanted it to be very comfortable to shoot. And that actually helped. It actually makes people feel like it has less recoil.
Yeah.
Because now the stock's not pushing your shoulder and your face. It's just pushing your shoulder.
It fits better.
It fits better.
And frankly, probably having 5 rounds in the stock, it adds a little bit of weight
100%.
to the gun, which is going to help with kind of taming the recoil.
Yeah, it tames recoil, but it also balances the gun better. If you ever talk to like an old school trap and skeet shooter, a lot of times they would put like lead inside their buttstock to balance the gun better because a balanced gun swings better.
Well, especially if you have a longer barrel, a little more weight out front.
Correct. Yeah. And even though side saddles, I tell people all the time, don't get rid of your side saddle. Side saddle's great. Just, but add shells to the stock too,
Well, that's a good point. If you like side saddle and maybe you're very proficient at running it, now you just have 5 more rounds on the gun.
Why not just have extras? So, you'll always have, and the side saddle, you will feel the weight because it's forward of, your trigger, unless it's on the stock. And you'll feel that extra weight where in the stock, you'll never feel it because it's resting on your shoulder.
Yeah.
So you won't feel that extra weight, but now, if you're humping it through the woods, I guess, for 10 miles, you'll feel the weight. But if you're shooting it, you don't. And it does absorb a lot of the recoil and makes it feel like it shoots lighter.
So who's using these? You guys have been at it for several years and you have like actual like I mean, consumers are buying them, but also law enforcement, military, right?
We have police departments across the country that are using them both in the lethal shotguns and the orange, less lethal beanbag shotguns as well, and even some large security forces for like some of the nuclear power plants and stuff like that. It's pretty neat stuff. So,
yeah. Talk about different ways to run this, because we were kind of discussing this off camera of different way, loading different shells or how people kind of plan this out.
Yeah. I mean, in a home defense situation, it's very common to have buckshot in the shotgun magazine, and then maybe slugs in the stock. Because if the buckshot weren't cutting it, the slugs will definitely take care of business. Mm-hmm. But now with people shooting shorty shells, let's say the Mossberg 590S, so it can cycle all the shells from the.
It'll cycle like really short ones.
Yeah. That new Mossberg, the S is for the short shells, I suppose. Yeah. But so
what are those? What are the Agula short
1 3/4?
Will this hold those?
My stock will not, and there's a reason for that. You have to have a certain amount of length of the shell to retain it properly.
Sure.
And they're so short that they will just fall right out the bottom. They won't hold. Okay. But I tell people it doesn't really help you to put minis in my stock, because my stock will only hold 5 shells. I don't care how long they are.
Oh, okay.
So minis are made for tubular magazines. That's where they shine.
That's where you get the benefit. The benefit of the minis.
Correct. Yeah. So I tell people, fill up your magazine with minis.
Yeah.
Minis it'll hold.
Yeah, your tubular magazine.
And then put 5 of full power
the
shells.
Big dogs.
2 3/4, 3 ends, 3, whatever you want, but put the big dogs in there. Because if you haven't solved the problem with your 15 minis, maybe you need 5 3-inch slugs. I'm just saying,
Right. Yeah.
Maybe it's time to turn up the heat a little bit. So
that's cool.
And even if you have like one of those adapters where you can only shoot shorties in there, well, the chamber doesn't have the adapter in it. So you can still combat load them one at a time in the chamber.
Sure.
So I tell people still put the full size ones in the stock, even if you got the shorty adapter in the shotgun. So either way, it adds to your capacity.
Mm-hmm. Talk about, there's a new gun that Mossberg brought out last week. Yes. And you have ideas.
Yes. Oh, the 990 Aftershock. What a cool little gun. It's their semi-auto version of their Shockwave.
The any other weapon, bird head handle.
The firearm.
Yeah, it's a firearm.
It's a firearm.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny story? When they brought out the Mossberg Shockwave, original one.
Correct.
Whatever that was, 4, 5, 6 years ago.
It's been a while,
yeah. We were at an industry event and they were giving out the awards for like rifle of the year, pistol of the year, shotgun of the year. And Mossberg won for the Shockwave. And there were like 20% of the room was laughing their butts off going, it's not a shotgun. It's an any other weapon, right? And like kind of all smiling and winking. Like this is hilarious that they won.
Right.
It's not a shotgun. I'm telling you, tell the ATF.
Just scratch shotgun, just put firearm. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's a firearm. Don't worry about it. But so it's a shorty, but now they have it in semi-auto.
So it's a semi-auto shotgun that has, the reason why the Flash 5 is predominantly made for pump shotguns is most of your gas operated shotguns have a large action spring inside the stock to help assist the bolt to go forward.
Right.
And that takes up a lot of room. Some of them are 8, 9 inches long. Some of them are the whole length of the stock.
Okay.
And so it takes up all the space inside the stock. So I can't add an internal magazine to those.
Gotcha.
But Mossberg came up with the 990 and it doesn't have anything in the stock. All of its operating components are in the forend, similar to I don't know if it's the same operating system as the 1301, but that's
similar.
Beretta 1301 also doesn't have anything in the stock. So whatever voodoo magic they use to make that happen. So that's why they have the bird's head grip on that semi-automatic shotgun. Well, if you buy their 18.5-inch barrel version, it's legal to stick a stock on there.
Yeah, it's not a short barrel shotgun.
No, it's no different than your 18.5-inch barrel Maverick 88. So slap a stock on there and go to town. I mean, not knocking bird's head grips at all, but but I'd want more ammo for my shotgun. So.
Well, the other thing is most people, if you haven't shot a shotgun like that, it's hard to hit what you're aiming at because you're kind of not aiming. You know, I mean, unless you have an aiming device, a laser is really helpful on something like that.
Right.
But they're typically shooting it sort of from the hip. And if I guarantee you bring out 10 shooters and load them up and let them all shoot at a target that's 15 feet away, they're all going to shoot high.
Yeah.
They're going to drop their rear hand, and the muzzle's going to raise up, and they're going to shoot over the target. Most people, if you practice with it a lot, you could get good. Sure. If you practice with anything, you'd get used to how this works. But putting a stock on it, now you can actually shoulder it, you can point it, you can aim and be way more effective.
Sure. Well, you have 2 points of movement in those short ones. So where if it's shouldered, you have 1 point of movement. That's the end of the barrel. So
yeah.
But no, I'm very, very excited about what fantastic innovation they've come out with that gun. And I cannot wait to get my hands on one and slap a Flash 5 on it and take it to the range and just have a blast.
I mean, yeah, because what is an 18-inch? I guess the mag tube is going to be the whole length of the barrel,
on
right?
the short one.
On the 18-inch, though?
No.
On
the 14.5-inch, yes.
Okay.
But on the 18.5-inch, no. The
18 just sticks out a little bit further.
The barrel just extends a little bit farther. Yeah, correct.
So it's going to hold, what, 4 or 5?
I think it's a 5+1.
Okay. So 6 in the gun plus 5 in the stock.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I like that a lot.
Oh, I cannot wait. And, one of the questions we get asked the most is, well, can you make it for a this or a that? And it's usually a shotgun we can't make it for because of that limitation of the gas.
The system is in the stock.
Is in the stock. So,
yeah.
So, and could we maybe engineer a replacement, spraying inside the stock, action spraying? We probably could, but I don't really want to impede on these gun manufacturers' perfection that they've already made,
right?
And try to change things.
Well, and you want to keep it easy to install too.
Exactly.
I mean, and to be honest with the audience, when accessory makers, and especially aftermarket accessories, when they're making products, they look at what's the number of them out there. It's like pistols, okay? If you're going to make a set of sights that fit a particular type of pistol, I can guarantee it's going to be for the Glock. It's going to be for maybe an M&P. It's going to be for, now at this point, a SIG P365 probably, because there's just so many of them out there. They're not making sights for the, Charter Arms Bulldog. That's not the first one they're doing it for. Shotguns, Remington 870, Mossberg 500. There's how many of them out there?
There's 21 million out there.
Yeah, you probably, everyone listening to this is like, yeah, I got one. You probably own one.
Right.
If you don't, you should. It's kind of like owning a 1022 or a Smith & Wesson J-frame. It's just like, this is a rite of passage. If you're going to call yourself a gun owner, you probably need to own one of these shotguns.
Yeah. And a lot of people, let's say you wanted to start duck hunting. Well, you're not going to go buy the $1,500, $1,900 Super Black Eagle or whatever to start duck hunting on your first try. You're going to buy an 870 or a 500, and you're going to go out there and you're going to try it. And if you like it, you're going to move up to the semi-auto shotguns later on. Yeah. But in the meantime, you got your pump, which is doing fine. But when you've moved up to that other gun, the pump usually gets relegated to home defense. It gets put in the corner, put in the closet. That's your home defense go-to now. And let me tell you, when something goes bump in the night, you're going to be wearing your boxers, not your kit. You're not going to have all your gear and all your magazine.
It's going to be in your hand. Everything you got is going to be, you're going to pick up, your home defense gun. And most people, maybe not all of you guys, if you live by yourself, this might not be the case, but a lot of people, if they have a home defense shotgun, the tubular magazine is going to be fully loaded and there's going to be nothing in the chamber.
Correct.
Most likely.
Yep.
And I know that means you're down one round, but it's a safer way long-term to keep the gun stored at the ready in your house. So now, okay, you're down one round if you store it that way, but if you've got these rounds in the stock that are very quick to get out and load, you've got an extra 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Because you're, like you said, you're not getting your shell belt on when you have to go inspect of what's going on.
Yep. You're going to grab the shotgun, you're going to fight with what you got. And this just gives you that, because once your shotgun's empty, it's now a baseball bat.
It's a decent club.
It's a decent club, granted. Yeah. And my stock's so strong that it would make a very good club.
You should put that. You should hey, listen, if you use up all the shells, this thing will bludgeon someone. The Bludgeon-matic 5000.
Right.
If you don't like it for a stock, you can just,
beat someone. Yeah.
So it's easy to install, right? I mean, you have a lot of people who are buying these and just swapping them out on their guns.
Absolutely. You know, the hardest part of swapping this thing out on your shotgun is taking your old one off. I can't help you there. I don't know how the manufacturer mounted it to your gun, but you got to get that thing off yourself. But once it's off, I give you the tool in the box to put mine on your shotgun. So you don't have to go hunting for a tool. Nothing worse than new toy, no tool. I hate that, you know. So I give you the tool to put it on. You just need a Phillips screwdriver besides that. The instructions are plain as day, but if you still have a problem with that, I have videos on the website and on YouTube, and I explain how to, and I go through it step by step.
So they might find it in a dealer, but they can also find it online, right?
Correct. They can go to TactaLoad.com.
TactaLoad.
TactaLoad. TactaLoad.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Yeah. And or they can go to Amazon. It's on there as well.
Okay.
We don't have all the colors on
Free
Amazon
shipping?
or the website. Amazon, if you have Prime, it's free shipping. On my website is free shipping. So if you don't have Prime and you want free shipping, go to my website. I give you free shipping.
Dude, I'm kind of surprised because most people, they're just like, dude, sorry, we can't do free shipping. We're not Amazon.
Yeah. And, you know, I get that. And I hate it when like people are like, oh, just go to Amazon. It's free shipping. I'm like, I don't have Prime. And then I'm all depressed because I didn't get my free shipping. So I'm offering people free shipping on my website. So
makes it easier.
Yeah, it does.
Cool.
You know?
All right. Well, that's it, man. Mike, thanks for being on with us.
Oh, it was a blast. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And we'll have him back on and we'll have him tell lots of stories about, you know, bad guys falling through ceilings and stuff like that.
All the good stories are relegated to how tall your glass of bourbon is.
Yeah, we'll get together and drink about it. Tell some lies.
Sounds
in
good.
the South, we don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Good lie, yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, that's it for us, guys. Go check them out, TactLoad. We like it. We think it's been pretty cool. And we'll see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.